Ah yes, Ireland. The sheep, the beautiful women, the rolling hills, and of course the rolling rock. Beer, that is. Yes, today is St. Paddy's Day, and today we're going to go over the history of Ireland's most fizzy of foods, soda bread. But Matt, I thought you were going to say beer. Well, beer is a topic that I would rather reserve for a later food lore episode, as its lore is larger than the beer gut of Steve Petrosino. So without further ado, let's check out the lore behind soda bread. First, soda bread is a type of bread where sodium bicarbonate, or baking soda, is mixed with sour milk to make the bread rise. Baking soda's early stages started out with Native Americans using a certain type of ash to induce leavening in bread. Later on in the late 1700s, the demand for alternatives to yeast continued. There were only so many bakers who knew about the use of sodium bicarbonate because the ingredient wasn't being mass-produced. Then in 1791, Nicolas Leblanc of France developed a much easier process to produce soda ash, the main ingredient in baking soda. This caused a mass production of baking soda at an affordable price for the public. The popularity of baking soda soon reached Ireland in the early 1800s. At the time, Ireland was nonetheless a poor country, with a terrain and climate that often hindered the bountifulness of crops for farmers. Ireland is home to a type of wheat that produces soft grains, whereas the hard grain wheat in the European mainland allowed bread to become more wholesome and rise better. Along with this, the price of yeast and other leavening additives were unaffordable for the general population of Ireland. Once baking soda was introduced at a low cost, families began to bake what is now known as soda bread. The common issue of wasting sour milk in Irish households was remedied as sour milk is used to activate the baking soda for leavening. Different families soon developed their own versions of soda bread with dried fruit and other ingredients to give the bread some flavor. Soda bread is often baked with a cross cut into the center of it in order to release the steam and let it rise a lot better. A lot of Irish households call this releasing the devil from the bread. Now that we understand the history behind Irish soda bread, I'm now going to show you an easy way you can make it this St. Patrick's Day. In a large bowl, I'm going to add 2 cups of flour, then 1 teaspoon of baking soda, then 1 teaspoon of salt, and a tablespoon of sugar. Normally for soda bread, you would use buttermilk, but instead I will be adding 3/4 of a cup of regular milk. Now I'm going to mix all the ingredients until you get a very sticky ball of dough. The best way to combine all the ingredients and to make sure that the dough rises is to knead it as much as possible. In order to keep it from sticking onto the bowl and the countertop, I will continue to add flour to all the surfaces. Once the dough is kneaded thoroughly, I will ball it up and place it on a floured baking stone. Next, I set the oven at 400 degrees Fahrenheit and bake the bread for 30 to 35 minutes. Alright, now that the bread is ready, I will brush on some melted butter and add a pinch of powdered sugar. And there we have it, a perfect loaf of Irish traditional soda bread. The tradition of making Irish soda bread is full of history. Imagine a whole nation being able to survive during famine because of simple and delicious foods like this. Soda bread is just one example of a food whose history can affect how we normally look at breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So happy St. Patrick's Day, and I hope to see you again as we take a look at some more food lore.